Hi, my name's Matt and this is my developer walkthrough on my game Knall Toten. So this game is designed to be a 2D kind of top-down zombie shooter arcade kind of thing, and so I've really tried to take that to heart and give it as much classic excitement and replay value you find in these arcade shooter games as possible. And so the major way I've done this involves using a wave spawner system, as we can see in this game controller here. And so what this basically allows me to do is to customize and edit each individual point of every individual wave. So if we look at the waves array here, obviously we've got 20, it's quite a few. So if we look at number 1, we've got the name, wave 1, that's fairly self-explanatory. We've got the enemy, zombie, which is the kind of zombie that will spawn using this prefab. We've got the count 2, which is how many of them will spawn, so 2 will spawn, that's fair enough. And we've got the rate 1, which is 1 per second. And so the idea is, obviously, as you go through the array, it gets harder and harder. So we'll go to wave 2, that's 4 zombies at a slightly faster rate. Then we go wave 3, we've got 6 zombies at a slightly slower rate just to cancel out. Wave 4, we've got 8 again, and then specifically at wave 5, you can see wave 5, you've still got 1 zombie at 1 per second, but instead of using the normal zombie prefab, we're using this tough zombie prefab. And what that basically is, you can see it's highlighted here just to show the player what they're dealing with. It's got a much higher health pool, 50, as opposed to the zombie's regular 6. Instead of the 2 damage this normally does to the player, it does a whole 5, so you really want to watch out for it, considering the player's only got 20 health. And as a compensation for that, you get a whole 50 points, which is, I believe, 5 times as much as a normal zombie. And all of these enemies will spawn randomly across any of these spawn points here. We can see them all collected into the spawn points array of the wave spawner script here. If we actually go into the wave spawner script itself, we can see this transform object SP is equal to the random range from 0 to spawn points.length. Which basically means it can choose any of those spawn points we see here in the arena. And then it's instantiating the whatever the enemy prefab is at that position and that rotation, which is good. Also, another thing, if you look at the arena, if you look even closer to the player himself, you will notice they have a slightly different lighting material to the rest of the objects in the scene. This was because I wanted to draw more attention to the player, specifically because if you notice his feet, he has a little walking animation, and if I were to put the lighting of those feet in Hero Walking here to the same lighting that affected the arena and everything around it, obviously they're kind of dark and it's a bit harder to distinguish. So I affected it on the player and the animation beneath, as well as on the border, just to have a bit of contrast between it all. I did originally want to put the lighting that's on the player and the arena border on everything inside the scene. Unfortunately, I did run into a problem with that, as I'm sure you'll be able to notice if I put it onto it now. It does seem to get rid of the spotlight. I believe this is down to the type of light it is. So you can see this is Sprite's default, the other one is Sprite's diffuse, which seems to work fine. But yeah, that just kind of stopped me from using the material and everything as I had planned. So it's a bit darker, it's a bit more eerie and dramatic, which kind of adds the aesthetic of the game, which is good. Other than that, though, there's not really that much to cover. We've got the pause canvas, which I have enabled when you press escape inside the game. It opens up this, it pauses the time scale, puts it to 0. And then you can resume, go back to the game, which sets it to 1. It also pauses the sound, so when you've got your laser, you might not be able to hear it, but you'll hear it if you play it yourself. And it plays the sound once it's finished. And then you've got the quit button, which takes you back to the main menu. And then you can play from there, or you can quit the application if you're running it in the exe file. And then, other than that, if we let ourselves die to these two lovely chaps, we'll be taken to the game over menu where a sound plays, which obviously you'll hear in the application yourself, which I'm quite a fan of, to be honest. But apart from that, I will leave you with the meaning of Knall Toten, which is German for, quite aptly, bang, dead. Goodbye.